Hi everybody, my name is Justin Pla, and today I'm here to help you build a better brand. In today's episode, I'm going to be going over why I decided to become a brand coach and build my own brand. After that, I'm going to go over the top 2 reasons why you need to build your own brand and have a strong strategy with that. There are quite a bit of different social media accounts that are teaching you how to create all these different side hustles to make money. Others are even teaching you how to leave your day job and pursue a 6-figure salary. And that can be in all different kinds of industries. I've seen everything from real estate all the way to freelancing. Now that's all great, but you can only go so far with a great skill. A lot of people aren't thinking about, how do I position myself as a brand? This is so important in today's day and age because you want to make sure you have a brand strategy so that you can stand out in a saturated market. I've been growing and honing my skills in advertising and marketing and branding. I feel that right now is the perfect opportunity to bring all of that to market to help out everyone else. Why did I decide to get into this beyond that? A big component into me deciding to take this jump into becoming a brand coach and becoming self-employed is very similar to why a lot of other people are doing it right now. I was tired of being undervalued and dealing with the middleman that was taking out the majority of my income to put it into their pockets. In the last decade, I worked at a brand agency where I was able to grow with them from the ground up. I was one of the first people working there, and when I left, I found out I was getting paid the least out of everybody. Now, I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to work there. I was able to develop a lot of different skills in regards to advertising, marketing, design, and specifically branding. And most importantly, I was able to develop strong relationships with colleagues and a variety of talented individuals within that industry, which I feel like is the most valuable asset that you can have outside of your own time. However, it left me realizing that I need to value my time more, specifically my time's monetary worth. And this actually led me to pursuing and chasing money with velocity. And there I actually ran into another hurdle. I was basically working for a lender in financing, and at that time it was probably the most money I've ever made, but I once realized that I was working for somebody else, this lender, who was essentially taking out the majority of my commissions to put it into their own pocket. And after 2 years of having a corporation take out my money, I decided that I want to go ahead and start my own venture. Basically, what I'm doing right now is what I love doing the most. I love helping others and educating people so that way I can help provide value and help other people prosper. And that's why I decided to finally leave and do what I've been doing for the last decade, which is helping other people build their own brand. And finally, the top 2 reasons why you need to build your own brand strategy. Reason number 1, you need to stand out in a saturated market. The world economy is evolving more and more into what we're calling the gig economy. The gig economy is defined by the Oxford Dictionary as a labor market characterized by the prevalence of short-term contracts or freelance works as opposed to permanent jobs. In other words, people are ditching corporate America to start working for themselves, whether that be freelancing or starting their own small business. Since its inception, America has traditionally been built on the backs of small businesses. In the latter years of our country, small businesses have been threatened by monopolies due to the fact that they can't compete with their efficient processes, their access to indispensable funds, and their ability to attract workers based upon attractive wages and benefits. However, the growing disparity between underpaid wages for the working class and excess salaries for corporate executives is causing a major shift in the American economy. This gap has left people dissatisfied with wasting their precious time to employers who really don't value their life or labor. The pandemic has shown us just exactly how unstable it is to work for somebody else. At the beginning of the pandemic, many people were displaced and had to pivot into different vocations. A growing number of Americans are realizing just how undependable it is to work for somebody else. The unreliability and uncertainty driven by the pandemic, coupled along with the fact that workers are looking for better pay and flexible working conditions, has led to what's now being called the Great Resignation of 2021. People are starting to understand with the internet and all these new technological advancements that working from home isn't that much of a pipe dream anymore. We're able to go ahead and gain access to resources that we could only been able to have at a corporate job. This is now encouraging people to cut out that middleman and start working for themselves. And because of this, you're now being introduced to a saturated market where you're now going to have to stand out and compete with all the other attention that these new entrepreneurs are seeking to gain from the American consumer. Reason number 2, why you need to build your own brand strategy. Number 2, a brand strategy will save you lots of time and money. Now you're probably asking yourself, why can't I just start advertising and marketing my skills and services? Well, the thing is those are just an extension of your brand. A brand isn't just a logo, a color palette, or a font type. It's everything from the culture that you harbor internally all the way to the way you communicate yourself out to the digital sphere through all the different marketing materials and content creation that you put out. It's now even more vital given the saturation of all these new businesses entering the market. Without a cohesive brand and strategy, it'll be very easy to have your message lost throughout all the other businesses that are competing for America's attention. Developing a brand requires a strategy that allows you to create a map for you and others to follow. A brand is the foundation for business operations. When building a home, you don't start with your paint or your roof. You start with the blueprints and the foundation for the home to sit on, so that way it doesn't fall apart. The same train of thought applies to a brand when you're creating your business. Without those blueprints or foundation for the home to sit on, you run the risk of having it fall apart, or worse, having to go back and restructure and remodel the home later. Without that brand strategy, you run the risk of spending lots of money on assets and materials that you necessarily don't need, or you run the risk of developing a brand that doesn't effectively communicate to your core demographic. You may end up spending copious amounts of money on assets like a website, business cards, that you might have to go circle back around and fix in the future. So you end up spending double the amount of money than you would have normally have. And further down the line, you run the risk of having your employees veer from your core vision of what you had for the brand. Without that brand roadmap, you run the risk of having those employees take your brand and misconstrue it, whether that be in creating their own marketing materials or starting a franchise and developing processes and services that don't align with your core mission. This is why, as a newly independent freelancer or business owner, you need to become a brand specialist. So that way you can develop a brand strategy that will evolve into a strong brand right from the start. Now, what makes a strong brand? Well, a strong brand sits on 4 attributes. It has authenticity, it has social responsibility, it provides value, and it has strategy. In the next episode, I'm gonna be going over exactly what makes a strong brand in today's market. Now, if you found the information in this video helpful, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also follow us on social media at Justin Pla. I'll see you next time.